Welcome to Master 79. In this lesson you will learn how to give constructive criticism in English. We will look at a simple 4-step structure, the phrases native speakers actually use, and how to soften a difficult message without hiding it. Then we will listen to 2 model dialogues and finish with a short quiz. First, what actually makes criticism constructive? 5 things. It targets the work or the behavior, never the person. It is specific, because one clear example beats a general complaint. It explains the effect so the listener can see why it matters. It offers a way forward that the person can really act on, and it is given privately, calmly, and while there is still time to change something. Almost every piece of good feedback in English follows the same shape. Step 1. Set the tone and show that you are on the same side. Step 2. Describe the behavior. Say exactly what you observed. Step 3. Explain the impact. Say what it changed or what it caused. And Step 4. Suggest a way forward. Then hand the conversation back to the other person. Step 1. Set the tone. Open by signaling that you are helping, not attacking. Asking permission first gives the other person a moment to prepare. Do you have a minute? I'd like to share some feedback on the report. Overall, this is really solid. There's one thing I think we could sharpen. I want to be honest with you because I think it will help. Would it be useful if I shared a few thoughts on the draft? Step 2. Describe the behavior, not the person. Name what you saw or heard, with one example. Instead of "you're careless," give the observable fact. I noticed that the last 3 reports came in after the deadline. In yesterday's meeting, you answered before the client had finished speaking. The introduction covers 4 ideas before it reaches the main point. Notice that none of these sentences describe a personality. They describe something a camera could have recorded. Step 3. Explain the impact. The impact is the reason your feedback matters. Keep it factual, and where you can, make it personal rather than accusing. When that happens, the design team loses a full day of work. The effect is that clients sometimes feel they haven't been heard. It makes the argument harder to follow, so the main point gets lost. I found myself rereading the first page to work out the aim. That last one is especially useful. Speaking about your own experience is much harder to argue with than a judgment about someone else. Step 4. Suggest a way forward. Offer one concrete next step. Then hand the conversation back with a question so that it becomes a discussion and not a verdict. One option would be to message me as soon as a deadline starts slipping. It might be worth moving the main point into the first paragraph. What would help you get these in on time? How does that sound to you? English speakers soften criticism in 4 main ways. Hedges. It might be worth. I'd suggest. Perhaps we could. Soft verbs, which turn a fact into an opinion. I felt that. It seemed to me that. I got the impression that. Small words that shrink the problem. It's just a little long. One small thing. Maybe a bit more detail here. And questions, which invite a reply. Have you thought about? What if we tried? Does that make sense? Use 1 or 2 of these. Use all of them at once and your message disappears completely. Let's hear the structure in a real conversation. Maya, Daniel, Sophia and Ben are invented characters written for this lesson.
Daniel, do you have 5 minutes? I'd like to talk about a client report.
Of course. Is there a problem with it?
Not at all. The research in it is excellent. I did notice it arrived on Tuesday evening, though, and the deadline was Monday.
Yes, I underestimated how long the data section would take.
That's useful to know.
When a report lands late, the design team loses a full day, so everything after it gets squeezed.
What would help you flag that earlier?
I could message you as soon as I know I'm slipping.
Perfect. Let's try that this month.
Why did that conversation work? 4 moves in order in under a minute. She asked for time first and she named the topic so there was no ambush. She gave real praise and then a fact. Tuesday evening, against a Monday deadline, she explained the cost to other people rather than her own annoyance. And she asked what would help, so Daniel proposed the solution himself. When people design their own fix, they usually keep to it. Now the same structure between colleagues, where there is no authority to lean on. Maya, Daniel, Sophia and Ben are invented characters written for this lesson.
Ben, would you like a second opinion on your slides before Thursday?
Yes, please. Be honest with me.
The content is strong.
Slides 4 to 7 have about 8 lines each, and from the back of the room I couldn't read them. It might be worth cutting each one to a single headline.
That's fair. I'll move the detail into my notes. Here is the same message said well and said badly. Say, I noticed the last 3 reports arrived late. Not, you're always late with everything. Always and never turn one event into a character flaw. Say, it seemed to me that the ending was rushed. Not, everyone thinks the ending was terrible. Hiding behind everyone is unfair because the listener cannot answer it. Say, what would help you get these in on time? Not, you need to sort this out. And never begin with, no offense, but. In English, that phrase warns the listener that offense is coming. Here is the whole lesson in 12 phrases. Pause the video and copy them down. To open, do you have a minute? Can I share some feedback? Overall, this is really solid. To describe, I noticed that in yesterday's meeting, what I saw was, for impact, the effect is that, when that happens, I found myself, and to move forward, it might be worth. One option would be, how does that sound? Time for a quiz. Your colleague's slides are hard to read. Which sentence gives constructive criticism? A. You're so disorganized. The slides were a mess again. B. Slides 4 to 7 have a lot of text and I couldn't read them from the back. Could we cut each one to a single headline? Or C. The slides were fine, I suppose. Don't worry about it. Pause the video and choose. The answer is B. It describes one observable thing, the amount of text on particular slides. It explains the impact that the speaker couldn't read them from the back of the room, and it offers a next step as a question, which leaves the decision with the other person. A attacks the person rather than the work, and C hides the message completely, which helps nobody. Now try it yourself. Think of one piece of feedback you owe someone. Write it in 4 steps. Tone, behavior, impact, and a way forward. Post your sentence in the comments and I'll reply to as many as I can. If this helped, subscribe to BMaster79 for more English and IELTS lessons. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.